Hello there, you're proudly welcome to the second lesson in our series of SQL tutorials. My name is Akosmaila. If you have not subscribed to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button, turn on the little bell notification icon so that you won't miss any of our tech tutorials that will be uploaded. So in this lesson, we are going to learn how to insert records into data tables using SQL language, and the database management system as stipulated in the first lesson that we'll be using is Microsoft Access. It has been chosen because it's one of the commonest one and then the easiest one to go with. Now, in the previous video, we managed in creating two tables. So I already have records here. Let me delete all of them because we'll be learning how to insert the records from scratch. We created two tables. The first one is the class TV one. Then we have the student TV also over here. So now how do we get records into these tables? Okay, so now the first table that we are going to insert records in is the class table 1. So without not much ado, I'll close all my tables in here. Now we go to create. Now we move on to query design. So here you click SQL view. So now you can go to the SQL window. Okay, so now the keyword to use in inserting records into table is the insert statement or the insert. So insert into class TV1, that's the table name. Then now you say values. So what are the values? So in other words, the values are the entries of our cells. So now let's look at the structure. We have only class code and class name to input value. So the first class we are going to add will we'll have the class code CLS01. So this is a first class code, and what is the corresponding class name for that class? The corresponding class name is going to be, let's say, grade 1. So grade 1. Okay, now so this code when run will append one record onto this particular table here. So let's run it and see. So run, you're about to append one record, you hit yes. So now when you go to your class table 1 and you refresh, you can see that we have successfully added one record. So let us add another class. So to do that, it's just a matter of you changing the entries here. So grade 2. Now let's run. We are about to append one record, which is true. So now we have 2. Let's add 1. So 3. Then 3 here. Now click here, I will run it. Okay, so now we have 3. Let us add one more. This time around I'm going to say GHS, and the class is going to be GHS1. So let me run that one also. Okay, so now you can see that adding records into database tables using SQL language in Microsoft Access is also very easy to do. So now we've managed to get 4 classes in our class table here. So we've been able to make a very huge accomplishment. Now let's move on to save this query so that later on if you would like to, or if the need comes for us to add another class, we can easily edit it. So we say class records append. So class records append. Very sorry for my keyboard. So now we've saved the query, and now we have our data table with records in here. So let us exit it. Now we left with the student table. Let us try to insert records into our student table as well. Okay, now before we do that, In a previous video, there is something that I failed to actually mention to you guys. Every table that we create in every database management system or in databases, every table has to get a primary key. That is a unique key which identifies a record. But for instance, in the national database, your primary key is your national ID. So now, having a table for the class table here, let me move on to teach you or show you how to add a primary key. So now I'll copy this student ID, that is what I'm going to make the primary key, and I will say that I'll come in here, I will say primary key, so primary key, then I'll paste the class ID inside. Okay, now we add a comma here. The very last thing, let us change the name. So the name we're going to say, the table name will be student TB2. Alright, so now that's a new table name we'll be going by. So we click run. Okay, so now I will save everything. We have our student TB2 here. Once you go to the design, you could see the student ID has been made a primary key. Okay, so now how do we get records into the student TB2 table? Alright, so we go to create query design instead. I'll exit here, I'll go to SQL view. So the same keyword, we say insert into student TB2. Okay, so let me look at the structure. Student TB2, what are the values we are, because we are inserting records into all the we are inputting records into all the columns, so we are going to say values. Now let us define our values here. I will terminate with a semicolon. So insert into student TB2 values. So my first value, that is the first name, which will be, let's say, myself, Smiler. The second, which will be Akon. Now, before then, I need to have student ID is supposed to come first. Very sorry for that. So let me issue a space. So the student ID for that is going to be 01, comma, Smiler, Akon. Now, what is the next column? Age. So what is my age? So because age is an int data type or has an int data type, we just type the age. So let's say 20. That one, you need not put it in any quotation. Now, telephone number. Telephone number was short test. So telephone number, let's say 02045. Okay. So now we have class code. So let's assume, although we've not created a relationship, class code is going to be CLs. Let me take the first student to be in class 1. Okay, so now having entered all these, you are done. You just have to run it. So invalid use of, let's check some things here. So sorry, the student ID was also int. So it was also int. So 01 Smiler Akon. So for all the number data types, they need not carry any quotation. That was a mistake that we made. So now, having rectified that, we will click syntax error, missing operator in query expression 01 Smiler. Was supposed to be comma, not full stop. You are about to append one row. Okay, so now we have successfully added one record. So once you click over here, you see that one record has been added to the student TB2 table. Okay, now using the same query or the same codes, I will just be changing the values. So let's say Bernard in cancer. Bernard in cancer is 18 years, or let's say it's 12 years. He's also in class 1. Telephone number is 0245. Okay, sorry, here is supposed to be 0. So now let's run to add a record. We are done. Once you refresh, you see that Bernard has also been added here. So let us add one more student, probably a female. So a female student, 3, let's say Miriam, surname Kwashi. Miriam, a very big shout out to you. I know you are watching. 15 or 16 020. Now let's say this one is going to be class 2. Alright, so we are done. We ran to add that record as well. We append. Alright, successfully we've been able to add 3 records in the student TB2 table. Then also here in the class table, we've also managed to learn how to use the SQL insert statement in adding records into data tables. So in the next video, we'll be looking at a more specific case of the insert statement in SQL, whereby we wouldn't be adding records into all the fields, but then only a selected field. How do we do that? That will be catered for in the next video. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any comments, kindly put it down in the comment section. More details about this video, check down the link, check down the description below. Thank you. See you in the next video. Bye.